Yo, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Today, I thought I would just go over all of the movies that I've watched in 2026 on my Letterboxd. It's been a while since I've done one of those videos, and I'm like, why not? I think that'd be fun. And now, some of these movies, they say that they came out in 2025, but really, theatrically, they were released here, at least here in the States, in 2026, but they were released in film festivals and stuff like that in 2025. But I'm counting theatrically, so there will be a couple of those. But to start things off, we'll go ahead and talk about 28 years later, The Bone Temple. Oh yeah, big old Samson. Yeah, I thought this movie was pretty good. It was definitely a step up from 28 years later. I really like Jack O'Connell. He's very charismatic. He was the lead villain in Sinners. I thought he did an excellent job there. And yeah, I just liked the story in this movie a lot better. Some of it, some of the stuff with Samson and all that, and Spike and so, it's still just like kind of okay. But luckily, there was enough brutality, there was gore, there was, this film I thought had better pacing than the last one. Just overall, I thought it was a more entertaining film and a better story, and the characters were more interesting. And I like that we got to learn more about Ray Fiennes' character, because I wasn't sure about him in the last movie, but in this one I liked him a lot more. So that was pretty good. I did say in my review that that Jimmy guy that Jack O'Connell plays. I said, remember, we're all Jimmy. I kept waiting for Sir Jimmy to walk out of the trailer with a leather jacket, red bandana, and a spiky baseball bat named Lucille, because he was definitely giving me some Negan vibes from The Walking Dead for sure. But he was funny as hell and scary. All right. Next up, we've got Send Help, which I actually have right here. Oh, duh. I can't remember if I said or not, but I gave 28 Years Later, The Bone Temple 3 stars. Yeah, 3 stars out of 5. This is Letterboxd, so it's... And then if I give a heart to something, that just means that I would own it. I didn't give a heart to 28 Years Later, The Bone Temple, because, truth be told, I think it was a good one and done, but that's about it for me. The ones that I'd rewatch the most are the first and the second movies, so... But still a solid watch. So yeah, 28 Years Later, The Bone Temple, 3 stars, no heart. Next up, we got Send Help, which I gave 4 stars and a heart. And Send Help right there. Some pretty sweet artwork. So I have the 4K. And yep. This movie was a lot of fun. Directed by Sam Raimi. It was just like this lady played by Rachel McAdams is, this like work nerd type lady, just works her ass off, studies a lot, goes into work prepared, having everything filed and ready to go. And then you got this jerk off played by Dylan O'Brien, who's her boss, who just like basically takes credit for everything and, doesn't really show her the respect and love that she deserves. So what ends up happening is they get on a plane to go somewhere to give like a presentation or something, and the plane crashes, and Rachel McAdams and Dylan O'Brien are the only 2 survivors. And now he is relying on her because she knows all about, she loved the show Survivor and she loves all this survival stuff, so she can be out there and she knows how to do everything. She knows how to create these little bowls out of coconuts, and when it rains, the rain will fill up the coconuts, and you'll have fresh water, and she knows how to make like a little kind of like outdoor hut type thing, to cover yourself from the rain and lightning and all that kind of stuff. And she's just a good survival expert. And, Dylan O'Brien's character doesn't know jack shit about that because he's a rich, spoiled brat who's been given everything. He's been given everything by his father his entire life, including money and power and all this stuff. So he doesn't know how to survive out there. So he's reliant now on Rachel McAdams' character. And so you just got this back and forth. They each learn a little bit more about each other. They both get really pissed at each other, try to kill each other at certain points and stuff. And it's just very entertaining because you got that Sam Raimi humor and editing and all that stuff and the camera work. And it's just a lot of fun. So definitely check out Send Help. That's a great one. All right, moving right along. Next up, we have Cold Storage. And this movie was fucking dead on arrival, man. I'll tell you. It lives up to the name. Cold Storage. Put this fucking piece of shit in cold storage. God, this movie was awful. Terrible. Oh my God. I was just bored to tears. I mean, I'm telling you, it was literally like watching paint dry. It was just that bad. It was such generic writing, boring characters, just not fun to watch, not entertaining. It was terrible. It really was. Yeah, like I said in my review, I didn't laugh, I didn't get scared, I didn't feel any tension. It was just blah. There's plenty of bad CGI in this movie. CGI blood, CGI vomit, CGI cat. Literally everything was CGI. And I even said, I'm like, if you go to see this one in the theater, then good luck and Godspeed. Bring plenty of energy drinks, popcorn, and candy. Because it's just so boring, man. Oh my God. I give it 1.5 stars. Because I like the actors in it. You know, it's not really the actors' fault. It's just the script that they were given and the over-reliance on CGI and all that stuff. And it's just boring, guys. I mean, it was boring as shit. So, yeah. That's Cold Storage. Big old pile of poop. Next up, we'll talk a little bit about, we'll go into Primate, which I gave 4 stars and a heart, and I have the Blu-ray right here. Primate was a blast. Now, this is the opposite of Cold Storage. This movie had great practical effects, including, like, this monkey thing, because it was, like, you know, it was all like a suit and animatronic and all this. And some people said, oh, it kind of looks fake or whatever. But I'm like, dude, who gives a shit? At least it's real. At least they put like their sweat, blood, and tears into making something real. And to be honest with you, when something does look fake, like a little off, like it's real, but it looks a little like not quite like a monkey. You can tell maybe there's like a person in there or animatronic. That kind of freaks me out a little bit more. You know, it makes it a little bit more disturbing. And this movie had great practical effects. I mean, you're seeing people just get mangled and jaws ripped off, faces torn off. You know, this fucking monkey is just killing people brutally. Kind of like Terrifier levels of gore. I was actually very surprised in the theater when they showed what they showed. I was like, holy shit. Like, I didn't realize we were getting that, like, Terrifier kind of level of, like, blood and gore and all that stuff. But I was happy to see it. And the characters, the human characters, obviously, at the very, like, start of the movie, they were kind of annoying, right? Because you have these young girls, and they're like, oh, yeah, and they're, like, you know, flirting with these guys, and they're being annoying, you know, when they're on the plane and shit. And I'm like, oh, God. I'm like, I'll leave it to these 3 broads to just fucking ruin this movie. These dumb Gen Z chicks, you know. I'm like, oh, they're gonna ruin. But luckily, you know what? The further along the film went, when they went back to the house, and they were kind of just talking and being normal and not being all, like, valley girly or whatever, they got a lot better and they grew on me. And I really liked the dad in this movie, too. He was good. But yeah, they grew on me, and so overall, I just had a blast with this movie. All the stuff in the pool, and, you know, there was a lot of tension. A great score, by the way. I loved the score. It was so good. And yeah, it was fun from start to finish, basically. It really was. So yeah, if you haven't seen Primate, definitely check this one out. It's just it almost feels like a fun throwback creature feature / like animal attack kind of film. You know, it feels like one of those from back in the day, like the 80s or something. So I highly recommend Primate. Really, really good stuff. Like I said, not a perfect film, but it's just a lot of fun and it's entertaining. So yeah, check that one out. And like I said, the makeup effects, practical effects, prosthetics, blood, gore, the monkey suit, all that stuff, the location. I mean, the score, like all that was excellent. All right, next up we have Scream 7. I just got the steelbook in, so that's great timing. Yeah, Scream 7. Okay, this I gave 3.5 stars and a heart to, which I know some people are like, what, really? Like, I thought it was a piece of shit. I'm like, okay, listen. So part of this is because my theater experience was an absolute blast, man. It was so much fun watching this on the big screen. Was it a perfect movie? Fuck no. I mean, not at all. The third act is awful. The third act, killer reveal and all that stuff that goes down, you could see it coming like 20,000 miles away. But I'll tell you this, the first 2 acts of this movie were really good. You get some gnarly kills. Neve Campbell's back. I love her. She is just so steady throughout all these films. She's just excellent in all of them. She just brings it as Sidney Prescott. And I love that about Neve Campbell. She never got too big for her britches or anything like that. It's like, no, she brings it every time. I never feel like she's phoning it in. She's just like a bad bitch, man. And she is like ready to fuck Ghostface up. She's not having it, right. She's got a daughter now in this film. She's got a husband. Actually, I believe she has 2 daughters. I think one's smaller, and I think she goes to maybe stay with like the grandparents or something. And then she's got her older daughter, which is obviously, the one that Ghostface is coming after and, kind of, tormenting the family and all that stuff. But I thought Ghostface looked great, the pacing of it was really good too, for the most part, I want to say. I like that we have different settings. You had the bar setting, you had the theater setting, you had the house, you had you're kind of jumping around a bit. I want to be careful with what I say because it's still a fairly new movie, but some older cast members come back into this movie and you get to see them again, which I thought was cool. Just overall, I thought it was really fun. I mean, the writing's not great. I wish Kevin Williamson had written this. Then I think it would have been a lot better. But I don't know. The way it was shot too, I mean, I thought it looked really good. The characters were pretty, besides Neve Campbell, her, and Sydney's husband in the movie. Sydney's husband in the movie, I thought that actor did a great job as well. I really liked him a lot. He was very believable. And the daughter, I thought all of them were really solid. The family was all solid. Ghostface was great. The kills, all that stuff. I thought the side characters, though, the supporting cast, they were all pretty much throwaway characters, which does suck. It'd be nice to have some other characters to latch onto that you love, like the Randy type character, or the Stu, or Billy, or whatever, whoever you love, But sadly, not so much in this. But I don't know what to say, man. I had a lot of fun with it. Maybe I'll rewatch it and I'll feel differently, but that theater experience was a blast. So, yeah, that's Scream 7. Check it out. Check it out for yourselves. I don't know. But yeah, I also like the small town setting as well. I thought that was good. That was really good. The little downtown area and all that. Kind of reminded me of Scream 4. And obviously the first couple Scream movies as well. They all kind of had that feel. But yeah. All right, next up. We've got Hail Mary. Little Ryan Gosling action. Look at him. Let's see. So this one I gave 3 stars, no heart, which I know is pretty low for most people, and because I know this was definitely a fan favorite. I thought Project Hail Mary was okay. I thought it was good. I mean, I thought it was good, because I thought it was good. A 3-star is a good for me, and then 3.5 would be very good, 4 would be great, 4.5 would be excellent, and then 5 is a masterpiece, kind of a thing. And then anything like 2.5 is average, and then anything below that is like 2 is below average, 1.5 is like bad, and then you kind of have varying degrees of bad after that. So I thought, I thought Hail Mary was good. A solid 3-star movie. The thing about it is, all of the stuff out in space, and minor spoilers, because this does happen later, like in the mid part, like the second act of the movie, I believe, when they introduce the alien, who Ryan Gosling befriends and all that, that was all awesome. Loved all that stuff. The like little buddy relationship that they had, so freaking cute. It was funny. It was endearing in a lot of ways. It was just, it was wholesome. It was all these things. And it was very suspenseful in certain scenes as well. But all of the stuff that took place on Earth with the human characters and that lady who's running the whole program and all that stuff, like the government lady and all that, I just thought all that was unbelievably boring and just so generic, and it just felt like some of the stuff we've seen a million times, characters we've seen a million times. The writing was bland. I don't know, and I just didn't have fun with any of that. I didn't, and it's not like what I mean by fun is, I wasn't invested in any of those human characters outside of Ryan Gosling. I didn't find them entertaining. I didn't find them like, oh wow, God, she's really smart and well put together, and like the dialogue it's juicy. It's stuff that like intrigues you. You know how like sci-fi movies, that's what you want. You want that dialogue that like, oh, kind of like captivates you. I wasn't getting any of that from Hail Mary. I'm sorry, it wasn't. It was just very bland. It's very basic stuff like, oh, the world's gonna end. We need you to go up there and and you're gonna, and all this stuff, and he doesn't want to, and they're like, well, you got to, you're the only one that can do this, blah, blah, and, he's reluctant about it and all that, and I'm like, Jesus, dude, this is so, I'm like, if you want to see a better version of this movie, just watch Sunshine. That's a much better sci-fi film with basically the same premise, but this movie, I thought it was good. Like I said, when it was in space and you were doing all the cool space traveling stuff, and he meets his little alien friend, and they develop a relationship, all that was great. And I loved the ending too. I thought the ending was very well done too. But the rest of all the human characters and all that, I just thought it was very generic writing, stuff we've seen a million times. And I don't know, this one, it gets a lot of praise though, Hail Mary. People seem to be digging it. I'm just like, dude, I love sci-fi movies. I really do. Blade Runner 2049, Alien, Prometheus, the list goes on and on. I love sci-fi movies. I really do. But Sunshine, like I was saying, but this one just wasn't quite hitting for me. So, yep, that's Hail Mary. Next up, we got Ready or Not 2. Here I Come. This movie I thought was bad. I thought this was bad. I gave this 2 stars. Obviously no heart. I just thought this was a bad movie for the most part. There were some okay things about it, some good kills, some funny moments, but overall very disappointing. Even though I don't even love the first Ready or Not, I think it's okay. I think if you're gonna watch one of those kind of like stalk and slash newer type slasher movies, like in that same vein, I'd much rather watch You're Next. I think that's a way better film than Ready or Not. But Ready or Not 2, I wrote like a lot on this one. But basically the gist of it is, it just felt very preachy. Like they were trying to say that, like, men are pretty shitty, and and the women are like the rock stars and all that. That's kind of what I was getting from it. I know, some people don't like to hear that kind of stuff, or whatever, like, oh, you're just being whatever. And I'm like, no, dude, I'm not. I love movies with strong female characters. Like I was talking about with Scream just now, or Primate, or like most of my movies, most of horror movies, it's strong female leads. And I liked her character in the first film, but in this one, it just felt like the writing was just trying to say that, like, look at how evil these men are. Like, all the men in the movie are either evil pieces of shit, like just devils, or they're just dumb, really, really dumb. And that's kind of where the humor comes in. And I'm just like, oh, God, dude, I don't mind a little bit of that stuff, you know? But when you make it so heavy handed, it doesn't work, you know? And, yeah, like I said in my review, every man in this movie is an absolute moron or a complete blueprint for a toxic male. And I still think that's true. And I said in the same message for the first film is still in full effect here in the sequel. The rich are evil, poor people are victims. You know, it's so brazenly in your face the entire runtime. I'm like, I think it's true, man. I'm just like, you know, I didn't care about the sisterly like relationship at all. I thought the writing was like CW level bad, like just like drama for drama's sake. You know, it's like, oh, you gotta have the sister drama stuff in there. I'm like, oh, no, dude, we didn't even need the sister. All that stuff was so boring. Like so much melodrama. Yeah, a lot of melodrama, like I wrote here. Oh yeah. I even said I didn't laugh once, so I guess it wasn't even that funny. I mean, they were trying to be funny, but I didn't find it funny. I mean, there may have been a couple parts that were like, you know what I mean, like maybe a little smirk or something, but not like laugh out loud for me personally. Some good. I said Elijah Wood is always a delight to see. Yeah, that's true. The blood and gore, yep, that was all solid. The look of the bloodstained wedding dress I thought was still cool. I thought that looked great. And I said I also thought that Sean Hennessy gave a really good performance, and the film was shot competently and well. And that's all true. I mean, it looked good. The movie looked good. And I thought that guy, Sean Hennessy dude, you know, who was in The Faculty, he was like the jock character in The Faculty. He was great as like the main villain, especially when he did get brutal and stuff with it. But I still thought the message was very cringy, like that toxic male kind of because it was just very in your face. But anyway, 2 stars, no heart. I don't want to go on and on about it, because if you like it, that's cool. There's nothing wrong with it, but I got to be honest. And I'll try to push this along, so I'm already at 22 minutes. God, I talk way too much about this stuff. Okay, Over Your Dead Body, I gave that 3 stars, no heart, and there she is again. The Margot Robbie lookalike right there, basically. No, so, yeah, I thought Over Your Dead Body was pretty funny. I liked the premise of it. I liked Jason Segel and, like, you know, all these, like, crazy faces he was making throughout, and, like, just those two, him and his wife going back and forth, arguing, doing all this stuff. There actually were some really good laugh out loud moments in that movie. But sadly, the humor kind of undercut the seriousness of what was going on. And that's why it's so hard to do a good or a great, like, a great horror comedy, because if you don't get those 2 tones just right, it ends up being a mess. And that's kind of how I felt about this movie. It wasn't like a complete shit show, but anytime they would get a little bit serious, boom, there's like a joke or something stupid happens, or somebody's getting like, they're just making really dumb character decisions, like left and right, like leaving weapons laying about, and just really, like, nobody would act this dumb. You know, these characters are just, I don't know. And it just got on my nerves after a while. I can live with, like, the occasional, like, stupid decision, you know, but every decision they make is just bad. You know, it's like, what are you doing? Like, why are you leaving the gun there? Why are you leaving the knife there? Why are you doing this? Why are you doing that? I mean, it's just like, I found myself throughout the entire movie, it was like bothering the shit out of me. But like I said, it still has a lot of funny moments. The acting's good. So you know, I still give it a recommend. You know, I don't think it's like a terrible movie or anything. Like I said in my review, the negatives are there's zero stakes. Never once did I feel like any of our lead characters were ever in mortal danger, and that's true. You just never, because they keep surviving everything, and it's just like, okay, so they're just gonna make it throughout the end of this, basically, you know, because it's like, you know, they just keep surviving things, and it's completely implausible, basically. Um, but yeah, yeah. Those are my thoughts on that. Okay, let's see. Next up, we have Hokum, which is one of my favorite films of the year. I gave this 4.5 stars and a heart. Loved it. Very atmospheric, lots of tension. It's like set around, you know, like Halloween time. I can't remember if it was Halloween Day or like right around Halloween, but they had these. Um, the lead actor is, you know, he's a writer, and he leaves the U.S. to go to this small little town in Ireland, and you know, there's the hotel that he's staying at, and there are all these cute little like pumpkins with like candles in them, and it's just the right amount of touches. You know, great lighting. I love the lighting in this movie. I'm a big lighting guy in films. I always notice that kind of stuff, and it felt very spooky, you know, and ominous, and it would be a great Halloween watch. But yeah, you get to the hotel and you start hearing all these, like the manager of the hotel is telling this spooky story to these couple of young kids, and that's kind of how you get the background of the lead villain, who is this like witch basically. And yeah, there's a lot going on in there, a lot of spooky stuff. But I don't want to give anything away because it's very new. It's not even out on physical media yet. But please, Adam Scott is brilliant in Hokum. It's one of my favorite films of 2026. Check it out. That's good enough. I don't want to say too much, but it's so fucking good. We got Lee Cronin's The Mummy. I gave this 2.5, no heart. It was okay. The the best part about this movie is like I was saying in my review, there's this black couple sitting behind my girlfriend and I, and they just had this commentary going throughout the Mummy movie, which was more entertaining than the movie. But like the wife was like, during the Mummy, like during these scary scenes, scary, you know what I mean? She was saying, "Fuck that! I'd shoot that creepy bitch." And then the guy would be like, "Oh hell nah," and then the lady would say, "These bitches are dumb as hell, and that's just stupid," and all this stuff. And I found all that way more entertaining than the actual movie. Yeah, I just said that it was pretty generic. I wouldn't even call this a mummy movie. It was way more of a possession flick, which is very true. The sound design was pretty dope, though. It was cool, like listening to this film in the theater. Now, if you didn't notice, my cat Ezra's over here, hanging out. What's up, buddy? Hey. Yeah, the sound design, the practical gore effects were really well done, and like the story was okay. It just felt like it went on too long, though, you know, and it wasn't. Hey, what's up, buddy? And it just started to get old after a while, and it wasn't really scary or anything like that. And it's like I wouldn't even call this a mummy movie at all. But yeah, it's definitely more in the Evil Dead vein, I would say. But yeah, that's that. All right, next up we've got The Devil Wears Prada 2. I give this 3 stars, no heart. It was good, you know. I mean, it was a solid movie. It was funny in parts. I thought all the main cast did an excellent job reprising their roles. They all fell right back into what they were doing in the first movie. It didn't feel like they missed a beat at all, which is really cool. And yeah, but the story itself, I just wasn't really that into. I didn't think the villain was that good. He was kind of just this wacky, zany dude. I don't know. I guess there were a couple kind of villains in a way. But let's see, yeah, because it's 20 years later, so it's like, God, that's so impressive that Meryl Streep still looks so good. I mean, she really does. She looks just as good as she did in the first one. Um, you got some music by Lady Gaga and Dua Lipa. Um, yeah, let's see. Oh yeah, the supporting cast. Yeah, the supporting cast. Everybody knew that they introduced. I didn't like any of those characters. I thought they were all very like blah. Um, yeah, I said the villains were cartoonish. But and then also one thing, and I don't think I wrote this down in here, but the boyfriend love interest character that they wanted, our lead character to like fall in love with and all this stuff. I thought that guy was just not very good or interesting or funny or anything. He was very bland, and I'm like, dude, why the hell would she want to end up with this dude? And why are you even writing this love story? And it didn't even feel necessary at all. It just felt like, oh, well, she's there. We got to have a love interest for her because we didn't bring her old boyfriend back. I'm like, why? I'm like, you don't need a love interest. And I'm like, there's enough going on in this movie. You do not need a love interest at all. Yeah. So I don't know. I didn't like any of that stuff. I'm like, get rid of that. If you had just cut out all the stuff with the love interest, got some better villains that didn't feel so cartoonish and like slapsticky and like over the top and all this stuff, then I think the movie could have been a lot better because all the other ingredients were there. Then you have Mortal Kombat 2, the new Mortal Kombat 2, obviously the one from 2026. I gave that 1.5 stars, no heart. I mean, God, dude, this movie was terrible. Oh my God. And I keep reading reviews and people liking it and saying like, oh, it's even better than the first one, like in the new series. I'm like, no, it's not, dude. No, it's not. Sub-Zero and Scorpion, all the stuff that was going on in that first movie was way better. So much more, like, there's so much more emotion going on there. Even like the new character that they introduced, even though he's not in the video game, so it's kind of silly. Even him, I thought when I rewatched it, I was like, you know what, I kind of like this. Him and his daughter and his wife and all that stuff. I'm like, all right, I kind of buy into it. And then in the second movie, spoilers, for what happens in Mortal Kombat 2, but they kill off the lead guy from the first movie, and I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like, really? I'm like, God, I kind of actually liked him a little bit now, and then you kill him off. Now they implied, once again, spoilers for Mortal Kombat 2, they implied that, they could probably bring him back, because they have, they know all this stuff about resurrecting characters, and they have the guy that can bring people back from the dead and all that kind of shit. And I'm just like, oh my God. So I'm like, so there's zero stakes, because you're basically saying like, oh, well, don't worry, even though your favorite characters are dead, we'll just bring them back. And I'm like, that's so stupid. Like Jax, they killed Jax off too, but they're like, oh, don't worry, we can bring him back too. And I'm just like, all right. I'm like, okay. Yeah, and God, what else? What was I saying? This. Oh yeah, Johnny Cage. Jesus, dude, so completely wasted in this movie. And I like Carl Urban, but there was just no charisma. I just didn't care about him at all. I'm like, dude, where's the charisma and badassery that he had in the very first 1995 Mortal Kombat movie? That actor did a much better job than Carl Urban, way better, because he was cocky, he was like kind of a prick, and I just love that. But in this movie, he's all like mopey and sad and depressed the first half of the movie. Then he gets a little bit more confident later on, but it's like, it's just too late for me, Yeah, I even said, I'm like, that they made Johnny Cage a whimpering, whiny bitch of a character, and I stand by that. I even said it's like Shang Tsung sucked all of the charisma out of Carl Urban. Oh, man. Let's see. Did you? Oh yeah, Katana and Jade. Ugh, God, they were both generic, boring ass characters. I could care less about their backstory and all that. I thought was terrible. They were trying to basically do the revenge story, like Katana's revenge story, like they did with Scorpion, but they did it way better with Scorpion in the first movie. Way better. But I did say that the best and most memorable fight scene was definitely between Kung Lao and Liu Kang. That was dope. That was really awesome. Um, but then, right, they introduced Quan Chi, who can just resurrect people and bring everybody back, so it doesn't matter if they kill off lead characters. I said that Kano was still funny. So like they brought Kano back, of course, because they thought they needed something from him, and then it turned out they didn't even really need it. So I'm just like, okay, you just did that to bring the actor back because everybody loved him in the first movie. And yeah, but overall, I just said that it was very lifeless. It was like a lifeless movie. And yeah, I don't know. I did not care for it. So yeah, that's that. Back Rooms. Yeah, Backrooms here. I thought this movie was awesome, man. Backrooms was really good. I gave it 3.5 stars and a heart because I'll be honest, I'm still kind of sitting on like the ending of it and all that, but I loved all of the stuff that was said in like the therapy session and her pretending to be his ex-wife and all that kind of stuff and him just going off. I loved all that. So, like I said, I won't get too much into spoilers with this one because I know it's new, but yeah, there's a lot of great drama and tension built in that movie. And then the back rooms themselves just looked dope. I mean, it was creepy. I mean, I could, some people were making fun of it a little bit, like, what's so scary about like furniture stacked on furniture and this and that. And I'm like, dude, as it goes along and you get deeper and deeper into the back rooms, it gets creepier and creepier. And I really dug it, especially the long. God, I'm sorry, somebody's like beeping their horn outside. It's a fucking idiots. Jesus Christ, it's fucking locked. You hear that shit? Or it's some dumbass kid playing with like his parents' car key thing. But yeah, Backrooms was awesome. I thought the practical effects in it were great, especially that creature design. I don't want to spoil what it is, but the creature design was so fucking cool. I could easily see this going up from 3.5 and a heart to 4, maybe even 4.5, because I think the more I rewatch it, it's going to keep growing on me. And then we have Mandalorian and Grogu. I gave this 3.5 stars and a heart. Man, this is another one that had a banger score. I love the score in this movie. It was like kind of had like, so it had the Mandalorian like kind of Western theme going, but then it added like this synth vibe to it. It felt a little 80s and whatnot. And it was, I don't know, it was just very like engrossing, and it just kind of sucked me more into the scene and what was going on. I really loved that score. But it was a solid action movie, man. It was action packed. I think my favorite action scene in Mandalorian and Grogu was right at the very beginning. You got that beautiful winter setting and the AT-AT and all this stuff, and he's just going in there blasting all these like stormtroopers or snow troopers or whatever. I forgot what they call them because they're stormtroopers, but they got like the winter gear on and stuff. Are they snow troopers? Is that what they call them when they're wearing that? Somebody let me know. But he's going in there and just blasting them, using his flamethrower, using the grappling hook to grab them over and blast them. I mean, it was just so badass. Grogu was adorable and hilarious. I mean, he had me cracking up in multiple scenes. Jesus Christ, dude. What the fuck is going on? Your car is locked, man. Do you hear that shit in the background? It's like beep, 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 beep. Oh my God. I almost think they're doing it on purpose at this point. But yeah, really funny movie. a really funny and action-packed movie. They really got the Marvel formula just right. You know, the comedy, the heart, the action, it was all in full force. I will say the lighting was a bit dark in certain scenes, especially with the action and stuff. It could be a little hard to see what was going on sometimes, especially when you got into like that like underground catacomb scene, like the third act. But I dug it. It was a very simple story. I don't think you even need to really watch the show to get what was going on in the story. I mean, obviously it helps, um, but I had a lot of fun with it. Just for like a standalone fun sci-fi action movie, it was good. It was really good. Let's see. And then we've got He-Man, just Masters of the Universe 2026. I gave this 2 stars, no heart. Once again, this is another movie kind of like just pushing an agenda very blatantly in your face, where it's just like, it's okay to be a sensitive guy. You don't have to use violence. Just because you have big muscles doesn't mean you have to use them. You can be the biggest pussy bitch in the world and it's okay. I'm like, Jesus Christ, dude. I'm like, it's fucking He-Man. It's He-Man. I mean, can we not just have a goddamn He-Man movie where he's like, I have the power, turns into fucking He-Man, just fucks everybody up? Do you have to have this little whiny bitch message in there? And it was just, God, it was so annoying. You had that fucking human resources lady. Oh, God, dude, she was just so obnoxious. And I understand, like, the point of her character was to be obnoxious, but she was so obnoxious that it, like, took me out of the film and it just really annoyed the fucking piss out of me. Yeah, and just overall, it was just, I just didn't care. I thought we were going to do like a serious take on He-Man and the Masters of the Universe. I thought it was going to be like Game of Thrones, Lord of the Rings, like fantasy action with a really good story and compelling characters and a complex plot, but it was none of those things. It was just goofy ass shit. It had that like James Gunn, Taika Waititi humor, and even just the look of it looked like something they would make, which I'm not hating on. I like James Gunn, I like Taika Waititi, but I'm just getting sick of the comedy action movies. I'm getting so burnt out on that fucking formula. Like, Thor Ragnarok, or, Love and Thunder, or the new Suicide Squad movie, or the new Superman movie, where it's just like everything's joke, 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 and it's like, can we just not have like a really good, serious story? I'm just getting burnt out of the action comedies, especially when they put this much of a message in there. I mean, for Christ's sakes, by the end of the movie, they're even making fun of the fact that he named himself He-Man. So the titular character is even getting made fun of for his character's name, He-Man. They're just making a complete mockery of the entire thing. And I just didn't appreciate it. Now, I grew up watching the 2002 animated show. Not so much the original He-Man movie or Masters of the Universe movie. Not really that one, like from the 80s. I grew up with the cartoon from the early 2000s, and I guess I was just hoping for more of something like that, and I didn't get it. But I will say this, the costume, makeup, all like the costumes and makeup work, and just the way that all of the characters look, the presentation of all of them, they definitely look like the characters from the show. Whether it's the newer iteration of the cartoon or the older, they look just like those characters. I thought they did a great job with all of them, with their designs and everything. And some of them even looked like practical, which I thought was cool too. Not all of them. Some of them were CGI, but some of them actually looked like there was a good amount of practical work put in and everything. And I appreciate that, with the costume designs and all that stuff, and the prosthetics, and, the different makeup that they're all wearing. And I was like, oh yeah, that's really cool, good job with that for sure. And, the world of Eternia and all that, I'm like, okay, it looks pretty solid. I just wish that we could have just stayed in Eternia instead of going to Earth and doing all the stuff in Earth and everything. And I'm like, oh God. which I know the original film did too, I believe. They came to Earth and stuff, and I'm sure it was just as, I'm sure it was corny and, you know, um, cheesy and, campy and all that stuff. But this movie, I don't know, man. I just didn't like what they were giving me. I'm sorry. I know a lot of people dug it, and I'm happy for them, but I gotta be honest with my reviews, and I was not feeling that Masters of the Universe at all. I just Skeletor looked badass, though. I'll say that. I thought Jared Leto did a great job voicing him. He looked amazing, especially with those like red eyes and the way his jaw moved and all that stuff. Really good work, and he got the voice and the laugh spot on. But once again, just not the tone that I was hoping for, and there was also a lot of messaging and stuff pushed in there for sure. And then the last one I'll talk about is Obsession. One of my favorite films of the year, that and Hokum. Those two really blew me away. Obsession was, once again, another film that had beautiful lighting. Especially that scene where she's at the doorway and she's looking in, you just see like the glint in her eyes, and she's just kind of like shadowed by the light at the door, and it's just very well done. Very well shot, especially those scenes where she's in the corner, kind of hiding in the darkness. Reminded me of some bits in Hereditary, where she's over in the corner and you can't quite see her and stuff. And the characters, I thought the characters were very well written. Because it's like, now you got the debate whether, like, is the boyfriend the villain? Is she the villain? Are they both the villains? And it's like, well, yeah, I don't think the guy starts out as a villain, because I don't think he thought it would actually work, the One Wish Willow thing. And then when he finds out that it actually did work, and then kind of later on in the movie, once he figures out that it did work, and then he's still, having sex with her and doing all these things, then it's like, okay, well, now he's like taking advantage of the situation, and stuff. And it's like, and it's like, all right, dude, now this is getting fucked up. So like the further along the movie goes, you start to feel like he is the villain. Because she can't help what she's doing. She's basically, being, well, I don't want to spoil anything in case you haven't seen Obsession, but you'll see what I mean when you get there. But this movie just made me feel so uncomfortable. It was the first time in a long time that I was like, I just remember us, there in the theater, just watching this with my girlfriend, and with pretty much all these movies I watched with my girlfriend Allie, and but with this one in particular, with Obsession, we were just watching it and stuff, and there was I feel like the movie puts you like in the driver's seat. So like all of these things that he's feeling and she's feeling and all that, like feeling uncomfortable and uneasy and just like very tense and all that, you're feeling that as the viewer too. And I think that's the brilliance of Obsession. And then especially if you've ever been in like a bad relationship where, somebody was maybe stalking you or too obsessed with you or whatever, or even if you've ever had like a really bad crush or something like that, I think, then the movie can be a bit more relatable, and thus being that much more intense too, if you've been through something like that. It just really gets under your skin the more you're watching it. I'm like, oh man, I'm like, just sitting there watching it, I'm like, God, it's just, now for my girlfriend Allie, she was getting a little bit more annoyed with, cause the woman in the film is being very like over the top and boisterous at times, and I think some of that got on my girlfriend's nerves a little bit, like, bitch, shut up, like, I thought you loved me, don't you love me, and she starts crying, whining, and screaming, or whatever, and I think that was kind of annoying my girlfriend a bit, but for me, I was just like, God, this is so awkward and tense and stuff, and I knew exactly what the director was going for, I thought it ended perfectly. A lot of people say this is a bummer of a film, that they'll probably not rewatch it. I actually cannot wait to rewatch this film. I didn't find it to be a bummer. I just found it to be a bit like anxiety inducing. But I definitely look forward to rewatching it. It's not even though there are moments where you kind of laugh out loud a bit, it's almost because you're uncomfortable, so you need to relieve some tension. But, yeah, man, I don't know. It's, this movie does, it's a very simple concept, which I appreciate. It's like you get a one wish willow, you wish for whatever you want, you want a girl to fall in love with you or be obsessed with you or whatever, and you snap it off and you wish for it and it comes true. But, of course, it's like the monkey paw situation where it's like you make a wish, but it's going to be fucked up. It's not going to be like what you had in mind. It's like Wishmaster. It's like, oh, he'll grant you a wish, but it's going to be an evil ass wish. It's not going to be quite what you had in mind. You're going to regret making the wish. Or a Leprechaun, same thing. But, yeah, definitely check out Obsession. Sound design was great, too. That was another thing, man. We saw this, we saw it in IMAX. Yeah, IMAX or Super IMAX, one or the other. And it was just, oh my God, dude. The sound design was just excellent. Like, I keep telling people, because I know they extended the runtime on this before it comes to digital. If you can still see it in the theater, I highly recommend you do. But yeah, I gave Obsession 4.5 stars and a heart. Loved it. Loved Hokum. Had a lot of fun with Scream 7. Primate was a blast. That was great. Just trying to focus on the ones that I really enjoyed. Mandalorian and Grogu, ton of fun. Backrooms was awesome. I think that's only going to go higher on my list. And the rest of them were just, good to really bad, or just shitty, basically. But yeah, no. I wanted this video to be shorter, but of course it's almost an hour long. Sorry, I tend to ramble on and stuff. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Let me know what you think about all these films. Try to be non-spoilery, especially for the movies that have twists or that aren't even out yet on physical media. Maybe people haven't seen them, but be respectful. But let me know your thoughts on some of these movies. I know a lot of people loved Hail Mary. I just thought it was good, but I know a lot of people loved it. I know a lot of people loved Masters of the Universe, but I thought it was bad, and that's okay. We're allowed to have different opinions. The world would be a very boring place, guys, if we all felt the same way about movies. It really would be. And I love a lot of movies that people think are bad themselves. I love Jason Takes Manhattan. I love A Nightmare on Elm Street 5, The Dream Child. I love a lot of like quote unquote like bad movies. I thought the movie Men, which everybody bitched about and said was like, oh, it's woke, it's this, it's, it's like anti-men, it's all this stuff. I thought that movie was excellent. I still think it's excellent. And I've rewatched it several times. So don't think like, oh, he hates, movies that are going to have like all this messaging and stuff. And then no, it's not, I like, as long as the message is not like in your face. Like Men, I think, is one of those movies that's very misunderstood. I think it's very, very misunderstood. But with, Masters of the Universe and like Ready or Not 2, I'm just like, dude, it's all up in your face. I mean, it's not clever at all. It's like, Men, I think, is a lot more clever than people give it credit for. But I think because of the time that it came out in, all people can say about it is like, oh, it's an anti-men film and stuff. And I'm like, it's really not. Trust me, I'm a man, and I would call it out if I thought it really was that. I promise you I would, because I have no problem calling these movies out. But yeah, guys, let me know what you think, and I'll catch you on the next one. Peace out. Thanks for watching. Later.